Hospitals are for healing, but their walls hold the echoes of every life lost. Usually you don't notice. I did. My story isn't about a violent spirit. The ghost in my room was different. I thought it wanted to hurt me. I was wrong. It was trying to save my life. After my surgery, the world was a soupy mess of anesthetic and pain. I was in a private room, 313. Nurses came and went, their voices distant. On the second night, I realized I wasn't alone. Movement flickered by the door. A tall, thin shadow stood just inside the room, out of focus. My heart monitor picked up its pace. I blinked. It had to be the meds. But as I stared, the monitor went silent. The screen flatlined for a second, then beeped back to life. I squeezed my eyes shut. When I opened them, the shadow was gone. But a cold spot lingered in the warm room. I was being watched. The next day, I didn't mention the shadow. They'd think I was losing my mind. But a stray comment I'd overheard stuck with me. A nurse complaining Dr. Evans gave a verbal order, then denied it ever happened. That night, the shadow returned. It stood in the exact same spot, a silent sentinel. I was wide awake this time, my breath caught in my chest. Then it glided to the table where the call button rested. A faint click echoed in the silence. A moment later, a nurse bustled in. "Everything okay in here, Alex?" By the time she opened the door, the shadow was gone. "The call button," I stammered. "You must have rolled over on it," she said with a dismissive smile, checking my IV before leaving me alone again. But I knew I hadn't moved. I was pinned by surgical staples in pain. Something pushed that button. Over the next 2 days, it got stranger. The TV would blast static the moment I drifted off. The bathroom's paper towel dispenser would whir to life in the empty room. Nurses blamed faulty wiring, but it wasn't random. It felt intentional, like something was trying to keep me from resting, trying to keep me on guard. Things escalated on the 5th night. A new nurse, Brenda, was checking my vitals, her movements rushed and distracted. As she adjusted my IV drip, the plastic water cup on my bedside table, a good 6 inches from her, tipped over, spilling ice water directly onto the IV port. Brenda jumped back. "Oh, goodness, sorry." "You didn't touch it," I said. She gave a nervous laugh. "Must have been off balance." She cleaned the mess and hurried out. The table hadn't wobbled. The cup was swatted by an invisible hand, blocking her from my IV. The next morning, a doctor I hadn't seen before walked in. His name tag read Dr. Evans. He flipped through my chart. "All right, Mr. Peterson," he said flatly. "Pain levels? A 4 out of 10. We'll up your dosage." The moment he stepped toward the foot of my bed, the temperature plummeted. I could see my own breath. The heart monitor shrieked, a high-pitched, frantic alarm. Dr. Evans flinched. "What's wrong with this thing?" he muttered, tapping the screen. Then I saw the shadow. Not by the door. It was standing directly behind Dr. Evans, darker and more defined than ever, vibrating with a low, angry energy. A nurse rushed in. "What happened?" "This machine is on the fritz," Dr. Evans said, already leaving. "Get maintenance." The second he was gone, the alarm stopped. The room warmed. The shadow vanished. The nurse checked me, confused. "Your heart rate is fine, Alex. A little high, but not that high." It wasn't the machine. It was a warning. The ghost didn't hate me. It hated Dr. Evans. My mind raced. I remembered dropping my phone between the bed and the wall. I leaned over, fumbling on the floor. My fingers brushed against my phone and something else. A grimy plastic hospital bracelet. The name was smudged but readable. Harrison G., room 313. Harrison. I'd heard orderlies talking. Poor Mr. Harrison went in for a simple surgery and just didn't wake up. Evans was his doctor. My blood ran cold. He died in this room. Mr. Harrison wasn't trying to scare me. He was trying to warn me. That kind of fear is a powerful motivator.
My surgical pain was nothing compared to this new terror. I knew Dr. Evans was coming back through his nurse, and my only ally was a ghost. The door opened. It was Nurse Brenda holding a syringe. "Here you go, Alex," she said with that same distracted smile. "Something from Dr. Evans to take the edge off." As she came closer, the room went ice cold. The lights overhead flickered violently. Brenda paused. Ugh, this old building. From the corner of my eye, I saw him, Mr. Harrison's shadow. He was right behind her, a towering, furious column of darkness, more solid than I had ever seen. "Just a little pinch," Brenda said, swabbing my IV port. The sharp tip of the needle glinted, hovering inches from the port in my arm. My mind screamed. I looked past her, locking eyes with the shadow of Mr. Harrison, and did the only thing I could. I screamed, a raw shriek of pure terror, my eyes fixed on the empty space right behind her. "Get away from me!" Brenda recoiled, dropping the syringe. "What? Alex, what's wrong?" "He's right there, behind you," I yelled, pointing. At that exact moment, the heavy IV pole next to the bed crashed to the floor with a deafening bang, as if shoved with incredible force. The scream and the crash sent Brenda scrambling out, shouting for help. Seconds later, 2 nurses and a security guard were at the door. "What is going on?" the head nurse, Carol, demanded. Her eyes weren't on me. They were on the syringe lying on the floor. She picked it up and examined the label. Her face went pale. She walked to my chart, her expression hardening. She held up the syringe. "Brenda, this is potassium chloride." Brenda stared. "What?" "No, it's the morphine Dr. Evans ordered." "There is no order from Dr. Evans for morphine on this chart," Carol said, her voice dangerously low. "And this is a lethal dose of potassium. Why were you about to inject this into my patient?" The room fell silent. The only sound, the steady, calm beep of my heart monitor. An investigation started immediately. Dr. Evans had a history of mistakes, verbal orders he later denied, patients who took sudden, inexplicable turns for the worse. My incident, with 3 witnesses and a syringe of poison, was the final nail. Brenda was just the pawn. The next day, they moved me to a different floor. As the orderly wheeled me out, I took one last look at room 313. It was just an empty room, quiet and still. The air was calm. The feeling of being watched was gone. I never saw the shadow of Mr. Harrison again. He refused to rest until he could stop what happened to him from happening to someone else. The dead didn't try to kill me. The living did. Thanks for listening. If you've had an experience you can't explain, share it in the comments below. And if you want to hear more stories like this, please consider subscribing. Stay safe.